You're welcome, faithful viewers, to another edition of Prime Flash on My Media Prime with me, Audrey Zatsa. It was a black Wednesday night yesterday in Bamenda, chief town of the northwest region, after several houses were set ablaze by unidentified armed men. According to sources, houses were set ablaze around the Mbengbi Road in Bamenda by men in military attire, which led to people fleeing to the bushes for safety. Some residents are said to have received burns as a result of the incident. As at now, the number of deaths hasn't been confirmed. At least 180 stores and several goods have been ravaged by flames in a fire incident that broke out in Abongbang, east region of the country. The incident occurred yesterday. According to local sources, the fire was caused by a poor electrical connection. No loss of life was recorded, and an investigation has been opened to assess the exact cause of the fire incident. Human Rights Working Group Stand Up for Cameroon has published its report on the human rights situation in Cameroon for the month of November 2021. The report reveals that 53 Cameroonians lost their lives to acts of human rights violation in the country. The report equally revealed that between January and November 2021, a total of 807 people lost their lives across Cameroon. Let's now have a member of the working group speaking on the microphone of Lasha Kingsley.
Part of this month was made up of the collection of violence and violations on human rights. And we also talked about pending cases. For the violations of human rights, up to this, for this month, we have 53 persons who've lost their lives. Then for the year, we have 807 people so far who have lost their lives. We have 237 people who have been kidnapped. Then we have 74 burning and explosions so far, which is really a threat to our national territory. And we also have some pending cases that we have been following up all to this day, which light has not yet been brought to. We have the situation of Stand Up for Cameroon members who are still in detention up to today, and who, in their case, we are waiting for the verdicts up to date, and the judge in question lost her husband and could not be there. So we hope to have that verdict on the 15th of December. We also have the situation of MRC militants who were just out there protesting for their civil rights, which is their civil duty, and they were arrested, and some have been liberated for the same cause, while some are still in detention. And this calls a question. You see their lawyers begin to ask question, why is it that some have been released and some are still in detention? We have the situation of Kumba. Actually, we know that there were already so many irregularities during the procedure, and today we got information with what we presented to you from the lawyers that they have actually paid the 400,000. They have appealed and sent to the Court of Appeal, and they are waiting for a feedback from the Court of Appeal. The situation of Garbu, up to today, light has not yet been brought to it. We are on the 12th hearing, saying how many years. We don't know what is happening. The government is saying nothing. And lastly, the government said the last hearing, you hear the judge saying all parties should be in court for the case to be open and debate begin. It is really a call for concern, and that is why we denounce in our working group, because we want light to be brought to each case. Each person has a right to be happy and to be convinced that their case has been judged, justice has been rendered, and it gives them the possibility to wave on and proceed. But when you have this justice that is being constantly denied, it traumatizes them, it always brings them back to their mind. And for this month, we also have some alerts that we recorded. We have the current killings, the current torture in the police station. We also have the impact of the crisis on children. You see, children are really victims of the crisis. Children are being killed now here and there, everywhere. It is really a call for concern, and we in the working group, we denounce that aspect. We also have as I was saying, that the current torture in prison, in police custody, it is really a cause of concern. No matter what somebody has done, be it what crime, the person needs to be treated with you, respecting the human rights.
We move back to Bamenda, where His Royal Highness von Kelvin Shomitang II, who equally doubles as the president of the Northwest House of Chiefs, has been abducted from his palace in the Northwest region. Sources say he was kidnapped on Tuesday evening in his palace in Bambalang by suspected armed separatist fighters. Details with Njoingong.
Cameroonian women are in total distress. Cooking with vegetable oil has now become a luxury in most homes. We eat without oil. It is crazy. I am not even able to cook a single meal with groundnut oil. The price of vegetable oil has increased from 1,100 francs to 1,400 francs in some areas and up to 1,500 francs in others. A bottle of oil is already at 1,300 francs for palm oil. Refined oil is now at 1,500 francs. What should we do? The government needs to look into the situation. Consumers are forced to revert to locally produced oil against the opinion of nutritionists, as it is a vector of many nutritional deficiencies. We are suffering. Housewives are really suffering. Even for a woman to cook is not possible. We can't live like this. The situation has left many wondering about the job of consumers' rights defenders in the country. First, it was COVID-19. Now, expensive cost of living is the new killer. Everything has become so expensive. Items of 2,200 are now at 2,400. Markets, supermarkets, all of them are the same. Even our local shops in the quarter, additions of 100, 150 francs, it's impossible to cook a meal. Housewives are calling for help from the government through the Ministry of Commerce. We plead on the government to look into the situation, to come to our aid. The people are really suffering. It's not easy. With the festive season fast approaching, it is clear that the cost of living in Cameroon as a whole has drastically increased. If adequate measures are not taken, a food crisis risks surfacing to add to the already existing challenges in Cameroon.
The kidnapping of His Royal Highness von Shomitang II has been announced. As confirmed on the front pages of most media outlets in Cameroon, the Northwest House of Chiefs president, who doubles as the traditional ruler of the Mboya Kumfondom, was picked up by alleged separatist fighters in his native palace at Mbambalang in the Ngwa division, Northwest region of Cameroon. It should, however, be borne in mind that for years on now, separatist fighters have been clamoring for an independent state to be formed by the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. And to this effect, besides the exchange of the gun battles between the latter and Cameroon's defense forces, the kidnaps of government officials, elites and traditional rulers have been rampant in the said regions. Talking further about who the kidnappee is, it should be recalled that, aside heading the Northwest House of Chiefs, which is a body instituted as part of the post-national dialogues resolutions adding to the special status for Anglophones, von Shomitang has also been the spotlight on the media lately. And in that light, the phone over the recent months past has been taking turns in his Meet the People tour, igniting the feeling of home-based development and unity. Von Kevin Shomitang II was taken as he prepared to launch the annual cultural festival. The Fawn, who was kidnapped on Tuesday, December 7, 2021, by the separatist fighters in his palace, is said to have been making plans to set out for the 84th edition of the Cultural Festival of the Mboyakum people, dubbed Sha'atang, as the cultural annual event is one which has not been held for close to 4 years due to the ongoing Anglophone crisis. Worth noting too is the fact that similar traditional rulers have in the past experienced such a fate, including the clergy. At press time, it remains uncertain the demands of the separatist fighters for the release of the traditional ruler.
The President of the Republic of Cameroon, His Excellency Paul Biya, has donated some 10 heavy-duty trucks to the National Cotton Company, Sode Coton. The gifts were handed on December 7 in Garoua by the Minister of Agriculture, Gabriel Bayrobe, to a representative of the company, Mr. Muhammadu Bayero. These gifts, which fall under the special 3-year plan for youth, thus comes to facilitate the transportation of Sode Coton products in the regions. The African Cup of Nations trophy, which arrived at Cameroon on December 6, was received by Sports Minister and Physical Education Professor Narcisse Mwelekombi and later escorted to the Prime Minister's office. Let's have more with Afon Quinta.
Tuesday, December 7, 2021, the trophy of the 33rd edition of the Total Energies African Cup of Nations arrived Cameroon, received by Sports and Physical Education Minister Professor Narcisse Mwelekombi, who doubles as president of the local organizing committee of the 2021 AFCON. Receiving the trophy at his ministry, Minister Narcisse Mwelekombi said the presence of the prestigious medal is proof that Cameroon is ready to celebrate Africa through football and culture. From the conference room of the Ministry of Sports, the trophy was escorted to the Prime Minister's office, where Mr. Joseph Diangote stressed on the country's readiness and determination to organize the competition come January 9, 2022.
Cameroon is excited to organize the biggest sports competition on the continent, the 33rd edition of the African Cup of Nations. Cameroon is proud to count on her stadiums, hotels, hospitals, telecommunication equipment, and telecommunication services all ready.
In a very colorful event, the Director of Marketing with Total Energies, Adrien Béchonnet, while presenting the trophy, stated that it will be paraded along streets of the 5 host cities in the days ahead.
Great pleasure for us to present this trophy. We have done that in 17 countries in Africa. We are going to present this trophy in each town where there will be some competition: Garoua, Limbe, Bafoussam, Douala and Yaoundé.
The coveted trophy, coming in from Egypt, one of the participating teams, comes to Cameroon 35 days to the holding of the tournament, expected to host 24 nations divided into 6 groups. The ceremony was highlighted by the cultural display in the presence of the AFCON mascot, Mola. The African Cup of Nations will take place in Cameroon from January 9 to February 6, 2022.
Let's now talk about coronavirus out of the country. Uganda has confirmed its first cases of the Omicron coronavirus variant. The country's Medical Research Institute on Tuesday announced that all new Omicron cases were detected in samples taken from travelers that arrived the country through the Entebbe International Airport. Health Minister Dr. Jane Ruth Aseng has thus called for increased surveillance to keep track of the circulating variant, while stating that the ministry isolated the confirmed cases and is tracing via contacts. That was it for today's edition of Prime Flash, produced by Ngwa Desmond. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. You have details and more stories in our 6:30 p.m. Prime News with Afon Quinta. Coming up next is In the House with Eileen Sama and her ladies. Have a nice time.